And we're learning more about the makeup of the jury as well, including some who've actually had run-ins with the law themselves. We want to bring in our legal panel to break everything down for you here. On deck in Burbank, California, we have attorney Carl Douglas, who's worked on the O.J. Simpson defense team, and in Orlando, criminal defense attorney Meg Strickler. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Carl, let me start with you. Marcia Clark actually came out this morning on the prosecution side of the O.J. case and said this verdict is far more shocking. As somebody who worked on the O.J. case, where do you stand on these comparisons?
Well, I understand the verdict, but it probably was based on three reasons. The foundation of any murder case is typically finding a cause of death and a manner of death. And here, there was no real hard evidence to prove those 2 points, which made it very difficult for the second point, and that was the decision of the prosecution to charge this as a first-degree murder case, a death penalty case. So the jurors had to be comfortable about their decision, given that this was the most serious sanction that could be imposed.
Well, were you shocked by this verdict? Were you shocked by it?
Oh, I was surprised like much of America, but I wasn't there like the jury was to listen to all the questions and all the answers and to examine all the evidence. So it's hard for me to second guess what the jury decided to do.
Meg, let me bring you in here. Okay, so there's the real possibility, right, that Casey Anthony walks out of court tomorrow a free woman after spending about 3 years in jail. What are the chances of that?
There are pretty good chances. Generally, when you're convicted of a misdemeanor with what the prior history she has, criminal history, she's not going to get sentenced to 4 consecutive years in jail. She's already served 3. She'll probably get time served, just like she did for the bad check charge. But let me be clear, she's not going to walk out of that courthouse tomorrow. Generally, you have to do some bureaucratic processing back at the jail. So she'll go back to the jail and she'll get out late in the afternoon. And due to the high media scrutiny here, they probably will find a way to have her exit without anyone knowing about it. It's pretty easy to do when you're at the jail. There are vans, there's whatnot. Right. They'll probably have her exit out one of those transportation vans. None of us will see it. But where she goes is a question none of us will know, because we know she's not going to be welcome back at the Anthony family. And to go back to that juror's impression of the Anthony family, it's definitely true. She did not just become a pathological liar at age 19. That family was the definition of dysfunction, and it appears that the jury saw that and saw it well and saw the lack of evidence. So I think of the proper verdict.
Carl, how much of a factor do you think that was? People saying, you know what, Casey Anthony came from this dysfunctional family, as Meg put it. Is that where the prosecution failed? Could they have overcome something like that?
Well, certainly one of the jurors suggested that there was a credibility problem with the father, George Anthony, and that probably had something to do with the thoughts and the concerns of the jurors. The dysfunction of the family was apparently quite evident from those that were there in the trial, and I'm sure all of the pieces had to fit together well before they could win such a serious charge as first-degree murder, an intentional planned murder.
The Casey's ex-fiance, Jesse Grund, he was thought to be Kaylee's dad at one point. He had some interesting thoughts on what he thinks Casey will do after this. Spoke out this morning on NBC's Today. Take a listen.
There is no way Casey goes back to that home. There's no way that they have any semblance of a normal family life. Right now, she has everything she ever wanted. She's going to have money. She's going to have people at her doorstep asking for her, wanting her, and she's going to have that partying lifestyle that she so craved.
Meg, what's next for Casey? I mean, Kerry Sanders brought up the security issue, and while she, quietly, she's still Casey Anthony, and she's going to pop up somewhere.
My guess is Jose Baez and the defense team are going to take her in under their arm and help her process out and process into the community. That's what defense lawyers do also. She'll be put on probation maybe, I'm not sure. But what a lot of people are suggesting is that she simply leave town, go somewhere else. And you know what, a lot of people who are outraged at Casey Anthony don't need to buy her book, don't need to watch the interviews, and then she won't get a lot of money. But we all know that's not going to happen. It's what it is what it is. And to address Channie Mason's issue about the media going a little overboard, does he not know history? What about the Lindbergh baby? It's just because social media was so big in this trial, it's the trial of the century, only because of social media. We've done this before. It's our culture. It's what happens. And I'm very surprised at his comments. Very surprised.
Ricky Kleeman, Carl Douglas, and Meg Strickler, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Switching gears.